Has a close friend ever hurt your feelings by saying they aren't your friend anymore? Maybe they told someone else that they aren't your friend or treated you differently when they were around other friends. That hurts when someone betrays us like that. If that hasn't happened to you before, just think about how it would feel if it did happen to you. Not fun, huh? In today's Bible story, someone does this to Jesus when Jesus needed friends the most. That must have hurt. You'll find the story in Luke chapter 22, verses 31 through 40 and verses 54 through 60. This story is a continuation of last week's, so before we begin, let's do a quick review. After praying in the garden with his disciples, Judas betrayed Jesus with a kiss and was arrested for claiming to be the Son of God, even though it was the truth. Okay, now you're all caught up. Let's begin. Before Jesus was arrested, he had a conversation with one of his disciples named Simon Peter. He told Peter, "Look, Peter, Satan wants you to sin. You will turn away from me." But Peter refused to believe it. "No way, Lord! I will go to jail for you and even die for you before I turn away from you," Peter said. But Jesus replied, "I am telling you the truth, Peter. Before the rooster crows in the morning, you will say that you don't know me 3 times." Peter couldn't believe it. He was one of Jesus' most loyal disciples. He even tried to stop Jesus from being arrested by cutting a man's ear off. But it didn't work, and now Jesus was being taken by guards through the dark streets to the high priest's house. Peter knew that if the guards saw him, they would probably arrest him too, so carefully and quietly, he stayed hidden in the darkness and followed Jesus from far away. When the guards finally reached the high priest's house, they took Jesus inside. There was no way Peter could sneak into the house. He would get caught for sure. So he sat down outside with some people around the campfire. Now that Peter was sitting near the light of a fire, people were able to see his face. One of the people was a servant to the high priest. She said to Peter, "I think I recognize you. Aren't you with Jesus?" Peter felt scared. If he said he was with Jesus, he'd get in trouble, so he said, "Jesus? I don't know him." A little bit later, someone else saw Peter sitting by the fire. He also thought he recognized Peter, so he said, "You're one of Jesus' disciples, aren't you?" Peter answered, "No, not me. I don't even know him." About an hour later, another person said to Peter, "Hey, you're from Galilee. That's where Jesus is from. You must be with him." This time, Peter answered even more defensively, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know Jesus." At that moment, Peter remembered that Jesus had told him earlier, "Before the rooster crows in the morning, you will say that you don't know me 3 times." Peter couldn't believe it. As soon as he realized what he had done, he felt so terrible that he ran away and began to cry. Man, poor Jesus was innocently arrested and put on trial, and his own disciple denies even knowing him. Peter was afraid he might be arrested too, and wouldn't admit knowing Jesus, let alone being his disciple. Did you know we can sometimes be like Peter? Peter followed Jesus from a distance while hiding in the shadows. But when someone asked if he knew Jesus, he said he didn't know him. But we don't have to be like Peter. We don't have to follow Jesus from far away. Let's stay close by his side. Let's tell everyone we are with Jesus, even if your friends don't think it's cool or someone teases you for it. This week's memory verse is Romans 1:16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth. Romans 1:16. Why should we be ashamed of our faith in Jesus when he has given us salvation? He loved us and died for our sins, and everyone needs to hear that they can be saved too. So let's shout it from the rooftops. Let's sing his praises out loud. He saved us, he loves us, and we are not ashamed. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.